Hello, everybody. Cal Griffin here with company. Uh, Today, Xenon is with us, and and Maxis. So let's give a disclaimer, and then we'll get on with this. Okay. Do not acknowledge any political, religious, or any hot button topics that may cause controversy, unless otherwise they are related to topic as a example or reference to. And ideologies, no. And one will be reminded to take the topic into a different direction. If that is not heeded, one will be locked out of the room. No questions asked, no warnings. So anyway, with that being said, let's get on with this circus. So I recently decided to put my lightsaber back together, or at least start and get it going there again. But that spurred something with me that the lightsaber to each of us, for some personal, for some prop, for some they like to hang it on the wall and just view the pretty lights, right? And in the lore of Star Wars, there were traditions and also how it might have matched the person who wields it, an extension, colors, such, and everything else. So now, a question that comes is, what does the lightsaber mean to you? What does it represent about you? The color, its function, its size, its amenities on it, okay? Its decoration, its function. How does it reflect and show your story? What does it say? What's the tradition behind it? Is it one that's passed down? Is it a family lightsaber? A family style of lightsaber? Its function, its color? Or does one go to the cave and pick out the crystal just because? That is the tradition, or does one end up by chance finding a crystal? Or does one end up making a synthetic crystal? And how long will you hold on to this lightsaber? Or as you grow, change, will it change with you? What story does it tell as one changes also? A chameleon, how many colors does it change? Does it mature with you, or does it stay where you were because that is where you have chosen to stay? So some people have a lightsaber for just prop, and also I failed to mention a sacrament, right? Like some people wear pendants due to their affiliation to whatever their beliefs are. So do you wear one as sacrament? Or do you wear one or carry one for just specific reasons or purposes for times of the year. Maybe there's a Star Wars Day, right? Everybody dresses up and lightsabers come out, right? Or say at some point another good Star Wars movie comes out. Woohoo! Yay! We have Star Wars. Star Wars is coming. Boom! Big influx of lightsabers start showing up, right? Now, take a moment and think. What is the lightsaber to you? How does it tell your story? What does it say? How does it reflect? Or is it just a very practical extension for just one purpose as a tool to fight the grumpy Sith or the grumpy person that decides they want a piece? Which is it? What is it? What draws you to the lightsaber? What is it about this mysterious, mystical metal tube with the light that comes out of it, or in the lore, or in the stories, or in the movies, has a plasma beam comes out of it? It weighs nothing. Open it up there. What do we got? I hear crickets. I need a little cricket button. I need a little cricket sound effect here.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
I'm sorry.
I was chirping like a cricket.
Chirp, 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 chirp. Okay. So you're going to need to speak up a little bit there. All right. So what does a lightsaber mean to you?
To me?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, one thing is I was given an assignment for picking a lightsaber color, and I stuck with it.
Okay.
And the assignment was what is like a lightsaber color that I like, that I'm drawn to, and then what does that color mean specifically for me outside of any outside influences of what someone might tell me that color means.
Okay. So for you, what does it mean?
I picked an Arctic blue color because every memory that I had in which I had committed to something and then I wasn't permitted to give up on that thing had incorporated that color.
Okay. So there's a purpose in that color then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Xenon. You, the rabbit woman.
Yes.
What's your take on this? What's your spin?
Well, I don't have any specific history in regards to researching lightsabers or anything of the sort, but I predominantly will play Star Wars: The Old Republic or the newer Jedi Order games.
Right.
And
right.
the newer one that came out like a year and a half ago or something, they had it where you could customize your entire saber in the game. I think I spent 2 days trying to find the right color.
So okay, since you're there with that, what does that color mean to you? Is it just tradition to the game, or is it something that actually speaks to you?
I think it was predominantly just the fact that the colors were. It went against the traditional blue and green and red. Because I would always pick, I was stuck on orange or
Uh,
a yeah, it was mostly orange. I thought was the coolest one in the game at
right.
least.
Right. I used to have one that was orange, and I couldn't stand it for very long. There was something about that color, even though initially it was cool looking. It was what they called the fire orange or something, or infernal orange or whatever, and it had a reddish hue to it. It's an attractive color, but just something about that color was abrasive to me. It was counter to how internally it conflicted with me. I, and I don't remember what the orange-ish spectrums are for in blade color, but that one was abrasive, but initially was striking. So if one had a hilt, and I know Julie, you have a hilt, Xenon, what would your hilt be? And what would be its specific purpose or its function with you? How would it extend with you and from you?
Give me an example.
Okay, well, the style of hilt. Would it be more like Anakin's, where it was kind of a melee style hilt, right? Very, very straightforward, very sturdily built, and was in its construction a very powerful melee, heavy hitting, but yet still had a realistic, practical, pragmatic use of it as a reflection of him. Where Anakin, as we know, was very much a highly an aggressive negotiator, as they say, and was very combat oriented. And that with Obi-Wan or Luke or Kudamunde and even the old flick-haired guy Mace Windu. And what tradition with that hilt would you keep? What influences in that hilt? I know that's kind of like multi questions and multi examples, but if that helps give you an idea.
Okay, uh, I've always been intrigued with Revan's hilt. I think it's mostly
Okay.
because of the fact that it's thinner but
All
longer,
right.
and it's
Right.
not as it doesn't have like all those divots and extra. It's more
Right.
smooth
Right.
looking.
Right. Let me look this up here real quick. Darth Revan or Revan. Revan's lightsaber. Oh, oh, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Oh no, that's a that's a elegant looking. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So it's fundamentally it's a very utilitarian type of lightsaber. Elegant, yes. So what is it about it? I mean, you don't like all the little, what's they call greebles on it, but what would, why, what draws you to it?
The fact that it looks ancient, it looks like it possesses history. It's
Right?
not. It's slightly traditional and
Right.
basic.
Yeah.
More, yeah, it's more like functional than for show.
Hey. Right. 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 So with you, that, how does that relate to you as a person? Kind of a deep question, isn't it?
Well, I've always been told that I'm an old soul, so
All
it would
right.
make sense that
So it's personal in a way. It's
yeah.
something that you relate to. Okay. So what color is it that you chose for a blade and why? The orange?
Okay, so in the game, yes, orange, but I think in actuality, I think orange, like you said, would be like I have one that changes colors and it has yellow, and I'm like, it looks nice, but it's too bright, don't like it.
Yeah.
So I always flip it to red or green.
Okay. So a bit of history about the red color. Okay. Now we know that the Sith used red because they say either bled the crystals or they were synthetic and manufactured, right? But in old lore, that some Jedi on occasion would actually create a lightsaber with their red blade. Not because they were bad, they had turned or anything, right? But on occasion, either because during a battle or something, they ended up that was the lightsaber that if theirs got destroyed, that was a saber they could pick up and still use. Okay. Or maybe it was a reminder or something, right? So in the lore with the lightsaber, people associate it with the Sith, right? The red lightsaber. Okay. But doesn't that kind of bring a caveat that someone who is fights for the good, the balance, the order of things, have a red lightsaber? How would that be counterintuitive to us?
Reflective of the shadow self.
Possibly, possibly the work one needs to do within themselves, that they face themselves, courage, bravery, devotion. Or maybe just because they just might have wanted to kind of go against the grain, just because they dig the color. Like I like red today, you know? And that seems to be the only way that this crystal seems to bond with me. But the shadow realm, the shadow work, yes, I can see that. But here's a twist with it. Does that person potentially have the very thin line of turning? Little thought there, huh? Something to think about. Maybe they're frustrated. What is the reason behind that color other than it's just a red lightsaber? But I think for me, with mine, it's a cyan or very close to an Arctic. I think it's more of a cyan. And because it leans more towards trying to stay peaceful, but yet also centered in neutral. Who work to stay centered in conflict, but yet still can veer. Now it has influences in it, and it's from my own thoughts, my own designs, my own evolution, but still in a way utilitarian, but yet still can be used in different fashion. It's very flexible in its operations, manipulation. But there was thought put into it. How does it extend? How is it a extension of me? Now, the funny part is that I have looked and shopped and seen other lightsabers that are very attractive to me, that might be great to have in my stable. But the attachment to the one I have that I've got time with, a connection with. There are similar ones that have these type of style to it. But it doesn't want to ever leave. I always gravitate towards it. Now, something with that, what would that say if one gravitates back towards a specific hilt? That they may be firm in their fundamentals and their principles, their core? Or is it maybe they're just going, you know what, I don't want to really change anything. I like this one, and you know, the others look cool, but this one just is just what it is. It is. So, and I don't know if we really think about what the lightsaber actually says. Other than say Mace Windu's was very blingy looking, right? Very, very blingy, and say the other guy, Dooku, that curved thing because of his style, but yet still kind of cool looking. Well, what does it say about what? How does this speak of the person? What is it about their story? their background, their history, where they came from, what they evolved from. Were they young or were they older? And those influences from if they were older and came to the past, the influences came with them as they designed it. And these are, I think, very in-depth questions that if one is a traditionalist, what would your lightsaber be? Would it be the standard run-of-the-mill, generic, Luke, Skywalker, Darth Vader, uh, Obi-Wan, Cudamonde, etc., right? Or what's the other one? DOS something? Or maybe the one that's kind of obscure. Well, Galen Merrick, Star Killers. Or the guy that was in I, Jedi, the story. Karan Horn, his lightsaber. And there's a few other people I forget about that were Karan Horns of the Halcyon. They used a silver blade. That was their family history. That was their clan color. But his had a function of a ring around his blade, his hilt, that when he twisted it, it would switch colors, it would switch crystals, and it would extend the blade or would shorten it. And that was a tradition in their hilts. Passed down through generational or passed on from member to member. So if one was to say their time came and they were ready to move to a different direction, would it be reasonable for them to pass their lightsaber down to their student? Or would they keep that saber as a reminder of their journey? Well, things that still they hold very near and dear to their heart. And I'm on this. I'm going on this topic here because it's kind of fun, right? But yet there are some lessons in it. All right, questions one to ask, but it's on a very light topic. I think it's very flexible in its discussion, and that's why I ask these questions. What does a lightsaber mean to you? And now let's go a little bit further out here into left field a bit. All right. Say if the opportunity did exist, and I think you know where I'm going with this, and you were able to acquire one that was actually functional, that you had to give something up to have it. What would you be willing to let go of in order to have this? What would you say I can do without or sacrifice to have this power, this item that has a blade that comes out that will cut through everything in today's society, in today's world? Wouldn't, in a way, that be ultimate power? Or would it be the illusion of ultimate power? Another question for the mind and for the ages. And maybe I've been obsessed about lightsabers at one time for far too long, or maybe my mind goes too deep. But this goes back to, what does a lightsaber say? Besides when it snaps, hisses, and hums and makes very cool sounds when it hits something, and people get into very cool, flashy fights with it. Or if you're just 5 or 6 year olds, just beat the snot out of each other with them. So, what is the lightsaber to you? If someone were to see your hilt and you designed it, you built it using traditional methods, what would it say about you? Either one of you want to take a guess, take a shot, spill your beans? Either one of you. What would you want your hilt to say about you? Yes, but what else? Your integrity, your character?
Thought I already explained that part.
Well, yes. Okay.
I mean, that was some of what
Yeah.
the code was about, was not giving up and kind of stoic in a
Right,
way.
right, right. Yeah. Yeah. I did go there, didn't I? Um, and to be honest with you, to be honest with everybody out there and whoever may be listening to you two, to be honest with you, this is kind of a topic I just kind of pulled out of my butt because I didn't have really that much to talk about today, or that a lesson to really bring up, or an observation or something that came to mind, other than just something kind of lighthearted and fun. But maybe try to make lessons out of it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. If you had that one opportunity to acquire an actual functioning lightsaber,
You mean
what
acquire?
would that would be? What your definition would be of that? Acquisition of one. Methods will remain however they may be. What would you give up, sacrifice, to have one? And that power with it. I mean, do everything with it. Sacrifice for it. I mean, because let's look at this from a different angle. People are drawn to lightsabers, the fantasy of it, the fights, all of that. But what would you sacrifice if you could actually have one? And if you gave that up, would it be in one that influences you, or would it be one of your own design? Totally one of a kind. If you were to give up that one thing, sacrifice it, and never be able to come back to it. An absolute. That's a tough question, isn't it? Julie,
I got called
what
upon.
would yes. What would you sacrifice to be able to have one, to have a lightsaber? Functional, real. Plasma blade, all of that. Snap his and maybe even shave with it if you're that brave.
What?
Maybe even shave with it if you're that brave.
Oh goodness.
So, what would you sacrifice for one?
I'm not sure how to answer the question.
It's kind of a moralistic question, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know. It could be. Or what if it was something
I think
because
it would depend on if the person wants that kind of responsibility.
so this would be more about the person then, right?
I guess.
But themselves with it. So this would be more of a integrity issue here, wouldn't it? So we're looking at more personal integrity, integralistic. Do you see how a lightsaber can reflect in so many ways our own self? So this, in a way, I guess, could be a very valuable lesson in class today, coming from just wanting to have a very, in a way, kind of light topic, kind of a fun topic, but yet maybe something a little deeper behind it. And maybe that was my intention, but not knowing which way to take it and what direction. So, Xenon, if you were to be able to have one in your possession, what would you sacrifice to have one?
That's more of a devil's advocate type of role.
See?
I mean, a lightsaber is just a symbol of your own potential in the actions that you make. So theoretically,
Right,
I wouldn't
right.
need to sacrifice anything for it because I can decide whatever through my own self. I don't need to give up something to get something in return in that regard.
But isn't that having your cake and eating it too?
Could very well be.
So this right here, this is a great example of what are your ethics and morals and principles. Why would one not sacrifice anything for something? So it kind of goes along with we must be willing to give to have reciprocation. Because what is it we have to do to be able to utilize it, to be able to be one with it? Don't we have to give something of ourselves? Let go? To understand ourselves through it? So there is a symbiotic relationship also. And I'm not trying to correct you in your thought there, Xenon. Okay. Why wouldn't somebody believe they have something or have anything they need to give up? I know this maybe in a way it could be a silly question, but could it be valid as well?
I think the angle that I was going for would be like the lightsaber itself would be not in a sense like worthless, but
Right.
it's just a symbol of yourself. So you as a person should know what you would need to give up in order to get something. So you don't
Right.
need to give something up to receive a lightsaber. You would just give something up because that's what you're aiming for to become a better person.
Right. But so, but in a way to become a better person, doesn't one have to give something up? You can't hold on to what you had in order to grow.
Absolutely.
So what's any different about a lightsaber and being able to have one?
Maybe the context of having.
The attachment?
Not so much attachment, but if you're already doing the inner work, why do you need to gain something like a lightsaber?
But doesn't one gain knowledge if one is doing the work?
That's a valid point.
And you're having to let go in order to gain. Because as Julie had said, the responsibility part, right? So what makes the responsibility with ourselves any less of owning something that powerful?
If anything, it requires more responsibility.
Right. Right. A higher standard of ourselves. And it may also just represent that, yes, I have given myself more so into my development to achieve where I am. It may be just a reflection of your status of where you have grown to be at. Paradox owning lightsaber. Yet it's a symbol of peace, protection, symbolic of order, balance, but yet capable of great destruction, great harm. Kind of give a hand to the cause, if one might say. Or an arm, might give an arm or a leg just to go there with it. But on the other side of it, maybe you might have to tear yourself, give half of yourself to the cause as well. So it'd be very electrifying in this. So the lightsaber also represents the journey. And so this is a very open, long, a very open-ended topic. But what I want to end and close out with is that if you were to be able to acquire one, but it took reflection, it took your dedication to it. What would it mean about you? How would it define you? And with anything, and what one has, what does it say about you? How does it define you? Or do you define it? And do you proudly keep that within yourself? Not with pride, but proudly. Anyway, something to think about, food for thought. Everybody have a good day. Everybody take care of each other and yourselves. If you got pets, love them. They like belly scratches, do that. Anyway, take care. Cal Griffin out. May the force guide you.